Just one question. You sneeze in the middle of your Shemona Esrei. You're sneezing on your sneeze. Are you like, it's a good sign?
Yeah.
Do you think that in your mind?
For sure.
It's so fun.
It's this Gemara from Rabbi Zera.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Not only that, I don't know if I mentioned over here. I want to. You know, Shema Kolenu. It's really asking that type of certain things. So in the middle of Shema Kolenu, where's a better place to sneeze, right? I had this urge to sneeze. I was so happy. I was so excited that itself suddenly stopped. And my brother was like, no. It was very fun. In the middle of Shema Kolenu, I was all, okay.
But that's a statement. I just want to make sure
That's
that's a safe statement to say. Sneezing.
You're as safe as the Gemara, which is the safest statement, safest thing you can do. Rabbi Zera, who's greater than Rabbi Zera?
Rabbi?
Nobody argued. Rabbi didn't argue with him. Yeah.
No.
Nobody argued with him. Okay. No, actually, no, Rabbi agreed with Rabbi Zera. That's actually the person. Rabbi Chanina said over in the name of Rabbi that he would sneeze. Now the Gemara asked the kasha from the Brayso that you're not allowed to sneeze.
No,
Right. Ma'alamata. L'mayla, the Gemara brought down the story of Rabbi. Of Rabbi Zera. Okay, so where are we up to exactly?
View down 2 dots.
Yehuda Omer ad berachot iboilu. Okay, Yehuda says you can pray shacharit till the 4th hour. Now, what does that mean? Iboilu ad ve'ad b'chlal, duma ad ve'lo ad b'chlal. Every time it says the word ad in Shas, this is a classic question. Does it include the time that it mentions, or is it up to, and not including the time that it mentions? So if it says until the 4th hour, on a perfect day, 4 hours, if it would be 6 to 6 o'clock, it's a 12-hour perfect day, so what would be 4 hours? 4 hours would be 10 o'clock. 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. Right? So if you include the 4th hour, that would mean you're including from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Which means you have until 10 o'clock to say Shmona Esrei. That would be including it. Or Dilma ad v'lo ad b'chlal. Well, maybe it means until the 4th hour begins, which is until 9 o'clock. But you can't say Shmona Esrei, the Amidah, after 9 o'clock. Okay? So, Tashema. I think it's lower down.
How many lines from the bottom?
Right before the bottom.
3 lines. 3 lines.
3 lines. You're on the wrong page. That's it. Okay? So the Gemara says like this. Tashua, let's bring a proof. How many times did Rabbi Yehuda speak in our Mishnah? There are 3 times he spoke. He spoke by Shacharit. He said, not Chatzot, Arba Sha'ot. Because the Tamid Shel Shachar was brought only until Arba Sha'ot. Not, by Mincha, he said, not till the evening, not till Shkia, not till the Erev, but to Plag HaMincha, because the Tamid Shel Abayim was brought until Plag HaMincha. Now, I'll explain what Plag is in a second. And the 3rd time that he spoke was at the end of the Mishnah by Mustaf. He said, not the whole day, but rather till the 7th hour. So, Shachrit, Mincha, Mustaf. He had dissenting views there. Again, Shachrit ad Arba Sha'ot, Mincha ad Plag HaMincha, and Mustaf ad Sheva Sha'ot. So he had a lot of ad, Arba Sha'ot. So we want to know what ad Arba Sha'ot is. So the Gemara is going to try to derive from the next 2 cases the meaning of ad. Does ad include what it's talking about, or does that ad not include? So Rabbi Yehuda said ad Plag HaMincha. As we saw yesterday, what does Plag HaMincha mean? Excuse me?
An hour and a quarter before sunset. Right?
An hour and a quarter before sunset. What is the calculation? How do you get there? Because you take, for example, on a perfect day, Mincha Ktana, okay, which is really when they started bringing, on a normal day, when they brought the Korban Tamid Shel Ben Harbayim, which was, they slaughtered it by 8.5 hours, and they brought the dam, they were marked by 9.5 hours. That's why it's called Mincha Tanach, is the time that they normally brought the Mincha, the Tamid Shel Ben Harbayim, which is the 9.5 hours in the day. What would a normal day, on a perfect day, 6 to 6 p? If the day starts at 6 and ends at 6, 9.5 hours in is 3:30. So at 3:30 begins the time when they usually brought the Tamid Shel Ben Harbayim. Now, how many hours are left of the day? From 3:30 until 6, there are 2.5 hours left. So if you divide those 2.5 hours down the middle, you're left with an hour and a quarter. So an hour and a quarter before 6 o'clock, which is 4:45, is Plag HaMincha. That clear? It's very important. You have 9.5 hours into the day, begins Mincha Ketana. What is that?
Is that the best time?
Is that the best time? That's a machloket, it could be, but Mincha Ketana means...
I thought Mincha Gdola is the first one, no?
Yeah, Mincha Gdola is the first one.
Oh, okay.
Mincha Gdola starts at 6.5 hours, 12:30.
I'm sorry, that's the one I do with the call. Sorry.
Yes, not at the beginning of Mincha Gdola, but during Mincha Gdola, meaning anywhere between 12:30, which you're allowed to bring the Tamid Shel Ben Harbayim, and Mincha Ketana begins at 3:30. You see, you have those 3 hours. Those first 3 hours are Mincha Gdola. So they're in those first 3 hours. They do it at 2:15.
Is it better? Like, why does it make a difference? Does God go, oh, it's like the next version of Shapari?
There are different shittas rishonim about this, exactly which one's better, maybe, which is preferable. They're both fine. Some gedolim try to daven mincha gedolim, some try to daven mincha ketana. The truth is, we gedaven during mincha or mincha ketana. Some say the best is right before shkia. There's a Targum Yomis and Ben Uziel, which indicates that right before the sun sets is the most auspicious time to pray.
So why would you do it at 2:30? What's the purpose?
The purpose is to daven mincha, because there's another purpose, is zrizim makdim l'mitzvah. They can't pray later on because they're in the middle of learning Torah.
What do you mean?
Before Shkia, they're learning Torah in the kollel. They don't have that opportunity then.
They can stop to Mincha, I think.
They don't want to stop then because it's interrupting the flow, the ritzifus, the consistency of the learning. You don't want to touch it. There are also shitot that's better than Mincha Gdola. But the point, let's say they're both fine. But when does it end? Shkia, according to the Chachamim. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, Plag HaMincha. Okay?
Sorry.
Plag HaMincha means you take the second Mincha, which is 3:30. That's when they normally brought the afternoon Korban. How many hours do you have now? From 3:30 to 6. Rabbi Yehuda says you don't have it until 6. You have Plag. Divide that time between 3:30 and 6 into half. That's what you have. The half point, which is 4:45. It's an hour and a quarter. Because if you do an hour and a quarter this way, you only have an hour and a quarter this way to 6. 3:30 to 4:45 is an hour and a quarter, and 4:45 to 6 is also an hour and a quarter.
Is it according to Shita the Gra?
Yeah, you could always, plug that in at the end, how to make the 12 hours work. But it's always going to be 2.5 hours shows zmanis.
When you left over it.
The hours might become larger if you go with the Shittas Magen Avraham. But it's always 12, so it's always 2.5 at the end. Look, it says here, the Tisha Umechta, he was brought. Doesn't matter, everybody agrees with that. Magen Avraham, Bill the Goyim. Question is, when is the 9.5? That's really the machloket. How do you calculate to get to the 9.5 hours? So that's a separate machloket. Fine. Is everybody clear here? It's very important to have the what it means. So now the Gemara says a very beautiful thing. The Gemara says, what does it mean to plag mincha? When he says until plag mincha, he means not including what he says, if I tell you until 7 o'clock, you can come to my house until 7 o'clock. What does that mean? You're invited until 7 and that's it. That's the way we speak in English. But in the Gemara, it's not so clear. It might mean until 7, meaning that's the last time. 7 is also included. From 7 to 8 is included. So the Gemara says, if Rabbi Yehuda meant that, if he meant, until Plag HaMincha, meaning not Plag HaMincha included, 3:30 until 4:45, until the dividing point, which is 4:45, down the middle. And not including the next half, from 4:45 to 6. So therefore, Hainu the Ikkim Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanan. That would be the simple difference between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan. Rabbanan say, we're including that second half, because you go till Shkiyah, from 4:45 to 6 is also fine. You can pray Mincha. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, until 4:45. But if you say that Plag HaMincha is included, what does that mean? That when Rabbi Yehuda says until the divide means and the divide is included. So he says until the day gets divided, Plag HaMincha 4:45, and including 4:45 until 6. So then says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda, that is the Rabbanan. Because they both say you can pray Mincha until 6. Elamai ad v'lo ad b'chlal ema seifa. So the Gemara says you must be saying that it's ad v'lo ad b'chlal. Ad Plag HaMincha meant until it gets divided and not including the division. So therefore, when it says ad arba sha'ot by shacharit, that's really our sugya here. We really want to know what he meant by shacharit. Did he include the 4th hour, which is from 9 o'clock to 10? Or it was until the 4th hour begins and it stops at 9. You can't say Shemona Esrei in the morning past 9. So the Gemara says you see from the Reisha, from ad Plag HaMincha, that it means until and not including. Which would mean that you only have 3 hours to pray shacharit in the morning. Is this what we're familiar with?
No.
We're not. Because we know that in the morning you have 4 hours. If you check today's calendar, you'll see it will be 4 hours. So the Gemara, we go ad ve'ad b'chlal. The Gemara just brought a proof that's ad ve'lo ad b'chlal. So why do we go against this Gemara? Because the next Gemara. The Gemara says, Ema Seifa. Let's take a look at the end of the Mishnah. You see, we just implied something and actually showed something very clearly that from the first part of the Mishnah, ad Plag HaMincha. But there's another part of the Mishnah, ad Sheva Sha'ot. V'shamustafim kol hayom. Rabbi Yehuda omer ad Sheva Sha'ot. V'tanya hayu lefonav shtei tefillot, achat shel Musaf, achat shel Mincha. Okay, so when are you allowed to pray Musaf?
All day.
All day. You know why? Because you were able to bring the Korban Musaf all day. But Rabbi Yehuda says, no, you weren't. You were able to bring it till the 7th hour. Now, does that mean including the 7th hour or until the 7th hour?
Yeah.
So right now we would think it means until, just like we proved from Plag HaMincha. But the problem is you can't say so. Why? Because there's a braita that says, listen to this case. This happens today all the time. Hayu lefanav shtei tefillot, achat shel Musaf, achat shel Mincha. Person has 2 tefillot in front of him, Musaf and Mincha. Mitpalel shel Mincha ve'achat shel Musaf. Which one comes first? Should you pray Musaf before Mincha or Mincha before Musaf? So the Tana Kama, which is the Shita of the Tana Kama in our Mishnah, which holds that you have the entire day to pray Musaf. So you have many hours. Now, when did the Mincha prayer start? At 12:30. Because Mincha Gdolah is always half an hour, 6.5 hours. So that's 12:30. So now you have, it's past 12:30. And now you have the whole day daven Mincha. And the rest of the day to daven Musaf. And you're not sure now, I didn't daven Musaf earlier. So now I have both in front of me. So which one should I take first? So he says, you have both in front of you. You have the whole day for both of them. Take the one that's more tadir. It's more common. That's the rule. So he says, This one is common and this one is not. Aha. But Rabbi Yehuda Omer, you know why? Because if you're going to try to do the one that's more common, you're going to lose out. Because you don't have that many hours left. You only have until the 7th hour. Shezu overet, shezu en overet. Okay, it's very nice that mincha is more tadir, but not at the expense that you're going to lose musaf totally. And you're about to lose musaf.
Why are you saying they're both seemingly ending at the same time, no?
Zu overet, shezu en overet. No, they're not, because he says, Rabbi Yehuda Shita, in the Mishnah, like our Mishnah, is that musaf goes ad sheva sha'ot, which is 1 o'clock. Okay? 1 o'clock.
So that way, if you're going to be losing in Musaf.
That's if you include the 7th hour. If you don't include the 7th hour, right? 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. So the 7th hour begins at 12 o'clock. It ends at 1 o'clock. So Rabbi Yehuda is saying, the most Rabbi Yehuda was saying was 1 o'clock. That's it. Right? So he's saying, you're not going to have a lot of time. So do musaf so you don't lose it. Now the Gemara says, if he meant, says the Gemara, if he meant 1 o'clock, including the 7th hour till 1 o'clock, then you can have such a quandary. It's possible to be in such a situation. Which means, why? Because when does mincha begin? 12:30. When does musaf end? 1 o'clock. So when did he have this question? How is it possible to be in this question? You had half an hour. It was 12:40, let's say, or 12:30. Looks at the clock. He's like, "Hey, I didn't have musaf, and now it's the time that I could pray mincha." So mincha is usually more common. Should I take mincha before? Yes. Or musaf because I only have half an hour. So if you just said you have half an hour, you're gonna lose it. Pray musaf. Okay, so it makes a lot of sense. But if you say that Rabbi Yehuda meant ad sheva sha'ot means until the beginning of the 7th hour, which means that musaf ends at 12 o'clock. And mincha only begins half an hour later. So you don't have a moment that has both tefillot. If you're in a time that you're able to pray musaf, that means it was before 12 o'clock. So you wouldn't have a question, should I pray musaf or mincha? You don't have mincha. And if you're at a time that you have mincha, which is at 12:30, you don't have musaf. It's over, my friend. It was over half an hour ago. So it's not possible to say ad v'lo ad b'chlal. So for the second half of the Mishnah, when he says ad sheva sha'ot, he must mean ad v'ad b'chlal. How can you have two tefillot together? Given the atilah shemicha, once mincha comes at 12:30, azla shemusafin. Musaf was over already half an hour ago. So the Gemara says, Elamai, so what do you want to derive from here? Ad v'ad b'chlal, kasher resha. Ma'ikah ben Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanan. Then you have a problem with the ad plag mincha. If you want to say ad plag mincha means including plag mincha, which means including from 4:45 to 6. It means he's going till Shkia. Now you have the problem with the Resha. There's no difference between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabban. One of them has to give, right? What's going to be here? So the Gemara says, you know what? I have one explanation, says the Gemara. Mi savid the high plag mincha plag achrona kama, plag rishona kama. Rabbi Yehuda, when he said until plag mincha, really, you proved from the end of the Mishnah Musafin that ad means ad bichlal in this Mishnah. How you can understand it? Ad bichlal for plag mincha? No, it doesn't mean the second half. It is including plag mincha because that's what Rabbi Yehuda means when he says ad in our Mishnah. But he means the first half of the division. I'm going to include it. How does that mean? It means like this: you have mincha ktana. It starts at 3:30. It goes until 6 o'clock. So you have two divisions, two parts, two halves. You have the second half, and the first half. So he says like this: Ad plaga micha, including plaga micha. The first half, between 3:30 and 4:45, you can pray. He didn't mean the second half. The first half of plag.
The cloud is for the first half of it.
For the first half, which is essentially now there's a machloket. Now it means till 4:45, and he's arguing. Okay, let's read that again inside. Mi saber, do you really think the high plag without plag achrona kama? The second half, plag rishona kama, v'hachi kama. This is what he means. Emit nafig plag rishona. When the first half leaves us, the ayil and goes up. The ayil plag achron. Ema nafik plag rishona ve'ayil plag achrona. When does the first half leave and the second half begin? Mechinafki yud aleph shaot chasar v'yah. When 11 hours minus a quarter go by, which is 10 hours, 10 and 3/4 hours. Okay. Are you ready? We gotta move. Amar Rav Nachman, Afanam na Yitanina. Rav Nachman says, Afanam na Yitanina. We learned that Ad Bechlal from a Mishnah. B'Yehuda Bava Eit Chamisha Dvarim. Now, the last one of the 5 Dvarim that Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava testified to is the proof of Ad Bechlal. Okay? But let's just say these other 4 things pretty quickly. They don't pertain to our sugya, and we have to move. So it says Shememanin Taktana, which means you know that a young girl that doesn't have the dat to get married, her father can marry her off. But if she doesn't have a father, Chachamim said that a brother and a mother could marry her. However, she has the right to refuse. At any point that she refuses marriage, she doesn't need a get, she just walks out. As long as she's still a ketana. There's a very interesting case. If you have 2 brothers married to 2 sisters, I'm going to say it very quickly. It doesn't pertain to our sugya, but I have to explain it because Rashi says it here. So, 2 brothers married to 2 sisters. One of the sisters, now the sisters are orphans. So one of the sisters was a young girl. She was 10, for example. So who married her? Her brother or her mother married her off. So it's a kedushin derabanan. She's not really married midoraita. They made such a kedushin, but she has the right to refuse without a get. What happens is the brother that was married to the older sister that was 15, he died. So now the 15-year-old falls to yibum, to the younger brother. The younger brother now has zika. He's kind of married. There's a connection to his yevama. The problem is, but then he can't stay married to the younger sister because she's an erva to that sister. She's a achod zikuka. She's a sister, just like you're not allowed to marry your wife's sister. You can't marry your yevama's sister either. Your yevama is called zikuka. So this girl that you're married to, the 10-year-old now, is really the sister of your zikuka. So if you get married to her, you won't be able to do yibum. You're not really married to her. So Chachamim said, train the girl to refuse. Tell the young girl to get out, to say, I don't want this marriage, so that the husband can do yibum to the zikuka. Another halacha is if one witness comes and says that he saw, on the other side of the ocean, he saw her husband dead, right? He testifies that he died. She can get married even with one aid. He testified that they actually stoned a rooster who killed a child. And meaning to say, his testimony is that you don't only stone an ox that kills a person, but there's actually a drasha which any animal is included, and he saw them do that in Yerushalayim. Yain ben 40 yom shenisnasech al gabi hamizbeach. You know that you pour libations of wine on the mizbeach. When is grape juice rendered wine? When does it come out of being just juice, which is called yain migito, or real wine that you can nesech shechar? So he's testified that he saw. Wine that was 40 days old. That is when it turns into wine. It ferments at that point. Here's what we want. The Tamid of Shachar, he testified, was brought to the Beit HaMikdash the Arba Sha'ot. Okay? What does it mean by Arba Sha'ot? He saw that they never did pass Arba Sha'ot, which is a proof to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, they didn't bring the Tamid Shachar till Chatzot. And he testified like Rabbi Yehuda. So, wow, over the Tanakama. He saw it in the Beit HaMikdash. They never passed. Yeah, hey.
He was around during that time?
Yeah, in the second Beit HaMikdash. That's what it looks like over here. So he testified that they did it in the 4th hour. Now, and not later. So who do we see like? We see like Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava's testimony is proof to Rabbi Yehuda. Now, can I ask you? So now, what did he say with it? Did he say ad abashot or be abashot? Be. What does be mean?
Within it.
Within it.
Right.
So it's ad b'chla. Excellent. It's not a question. You bring a proof. So it's a proof that this what we did in the Mishnah, which by the way was the only way that worked in the Mishnah, because we were able to take care of Plag HaMilchat in the first half. We have a proof from Mishnah that that's what they did in the Beit HaMikdash. That was testimony. So the Arba Sha'ot that Rabbi Yehuda meant in our Mishnah must have meant within. Shma Mina, ad b'chlal Shma Mina. Amar Rav Kahana halachak Rabbi Yehuda. You know why we go like Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah? Hoyu utnam b'fchir tekavotei. Since in the most chosen masechet, someone asks you, what's the most chosen masechet? Someone says, who's the most chosen people? You know, it's you. Who's the most chosen masechet from the chosen people? Idiot. Testimony. That's what it's called. All across Shas. Idiot is called, and idiot also means idiot. Idiot means the best. Like if a person has 3 quality pieces of real estate, is ziburit, the worst, benonit, and meitab is called idiot. Okay? Okay, so there.
Class A.
So that's what it means. So in Masechet idiot, right? They testified like Rabbi Yehuda. The halacha follows. Whatever you find in that Masechet, the halacha follows. That Masechet. Okay, it's called Bechirta, the chosen one. And that's why, Rabbotai, today, what do? We have, that's halacha. Halacha is, I'm just saying quickly, you have till the end of the 4th hour to pray Shacharit. And if you didn't, so then you pray till Chatzot. Okay?
Repeat that again. You have until the 4 hours.
You have the 4 hours to get the schar of the Zman Tefillah.
Of Shacharit. Right.
You're not going to get this. You're not going to get the schar Zman Tefillah anymore because we passing like Rabbi Yehuda. Not like the Chachamim we have to Chatzot. But
Can you give me the time right now? Let's just try to say the second right now.
right now, well, on a perfect day or today's day?
Let's say a perfect day.
6 to 6. So that's 12 hours.
Yeah.
So at the end of the 4th. At the end of the 4th, anyway, so not until the 4th. At the end of the 4th. So 4 hours after 6 is 10 o'clock. 10. 6 to 7. 7 to 8. 8 to 9. 9 to 10. The 4th hour is 9 to 10.
What do you call that now? Oh, sorry. What is
On a
the?
perfect day, it will be 10 o'clock. Today, you want to do today?
I'm doing it right now. It's fine.
What time is the dates today?
Nate Takama 7:05.
Shkia. What time is Shkia today?
5:50. Shkia Chachama 6:03.
Okay. So 6:03. So how many minutes are missing from every hour today? You're missing 62 minutes. So every hour is not going to be a perfect 60-minute hour. Because there are 62 minutes missing to the day to be a perfect day. Correct? It went from 7:05 to 6:03. What would have been a perfect day? 7:05 to 7:05.
Yes.
But it went to 6:03. So the day was missing 62 minutes. So that means every one of the 12 hours are going to be shorter hours. They're not going to be 60-minute hours. They're going to be 55, and you have to divide another 2 minutes into 12. That's another 120 seconds. You take up another 10 seconds. Each hour is going to be 54 minutes and 50 seconds. So if you begin, now you ready? Now we do the cheshbon. What time did the day start? 7:05. So do 4 hours. You'll get to 11:05. But now you have to minus off. Each hour I really gave too much time. I made them 60 minutes. So minus off times 4 times. You have to minus off 4 times because we went for 4 hours. So minus off, instead, 5 minutes and 10 seconds times 4 is 20 minutes and 40 seconds away from 11:05, which would be at 10:45 minus 40 seconds, 10:44.
10:44 and 37 seconds.
The Lagoin. That's what, because I was using the Lagoin thing. Yeah, you got it? You understand how? Okay. Okay. Let's continue. Says the Gemara. Ooh, it's really late. Okay. Says the Gemara. Let's try to move very fast now. The Torah says, the Cham Shemesh v'Namas, that the man, right? The man, when it fell, what happened was they collected it in the morning, every morning, and then the sun came and it melted it. Okay? So when is the sun's heat? The heat of the sun melted it. That's what the Torah says. The Cham Shemesh v'Namas. So the Gemara says, Man Tana lahad Tanan, the Cham Shemesh v'Namas. Who is the Tana of this brayta? It says in the brayta that means be'arba shot. It's in the 4th hour. How do you know the heat of the sun is the 4th hour of the day at 10 o'clock? Maybe it means the hottest time of the day, which is when it's right overhead, is 6 o'clock. Right? 12 o'clock, right? 6 hours in, which is 12 o'clock. So the answer is, since by Avraham Avinu it says he was sitting at the entrance of his tent, the beginning of Vayera, Kechom Hayom, at the heat of the day. It doesn't say at the heat of the sun. Heat of the day means midday, the hottest part. And if it doesn't say V'cham Hayom v'Namas, it says V'cham HaShemesh, it must be a different time. That's be'arba shot. Okay? Because, as we're going to see at the end of the Gemara, Chom Hayom means the hottest point of the day, which means if you go into the sunlight, it's hot. If you go into the shade at 12 o'clock, right over it, it's hot. But the Arba Sha'ot, at 10 o'clock, it's hot, the sun is hot. If you go into the shade, it's cool. It feels cool. So that's why it's not called Chom Hayom, it's called Cham HaShemesh. The Shemesh is Cham, but the Yom, the whole Yom is not Cham. I go under the tree, I'm good, it's cool. So Cham HaShemesh is 4 hours. We're going to see the Gemara is going to say that there. But that's what the Gemara means now. Who's that? Mani Rabbi Huda. Lo Rabbi Huda, Lo Rabbanan, excuse me. It's not Rabbi Huda, not like the Rabbanan. Why? I Rabbi Yehuda. If it's Rabbi Yehuda, Adab Shonam Mitzafro. In the 4th hour is called Boker. Because the Talmud Shel Shachar was called Boker. Et HaKeves Echad Tasada Boker. Right? And when does the Boker end? At the end of the 4th hour. Now, it says in the Pasuk by the man, Vayilkitu oto, Baboker Baboker. Only in the morning, they collected it. And then after the boker, it was v'cham hashemesh, v'namas, melted. But you just told me cham hashemesh is within the 4th hour. That is boker. That should be a time of collecting the money. Not a time that's after the boker. Rabbi Yehuda says the 4th hour is called boker because he brings the Tamid Shel Shachar. And according to the Rabbanan, they hold you able to bring the Tamid Shel Shachar to Chatzot, it's boker. So, for sure not in the 4th hour, when the sun couldn't have melted it because the sun melted it after the boker. It says they collected it during the boker hours. And then was a new era, a new period, which is called Cham HaShemesh. So the Gemara says, doesn't know like anybody. So the Gemara says, Ibaitem Rabbi Yehuda, Ibaitem Rabbanan. Ibaitem Rabbanan, I can answer you, means like this, Amar Krab, Baboker, Baboker. The Torah says, you know when they collected it? Not in the boker. Baboker, Baboker. Which means, Chalkeu L'shnei Bekarim. Divide the day times, which is from 6 o'clock till 12 o'clock, according to the Rabbanan, into 2 parts. They did it in the first boker, which ends at what time? 9. So, what happens is like this. In the 4th hour, is V'cham HaShemesh. Perfect. From 9 to 10, which is during the 4th hour, it's V'cham HaShemesh. That's already passed. So they went Baboker, Baboker. The early boker. That's Pshat Rabbanan. Ibaitem Rabbi Yehuda, Hai Boker Yitira, Lakti Lo Sha'achat. Rabbi Yehuda says, look, the boker only goes until 10 o'clock. But the fact that the Torah said Baboker, Baboker, what they were doing was they were saying, they said it twice to tell you that they stopped 1 hour early. So they stopped at 9 o'clock, like Ad V'lo Ad B'chlal. So from 9 to 10 was the era of V'cham HaShemesh V'namas. And the Gemara says the Kula Alamiyah V'cham HaShemesh V'namas V'abashot. Everybody will agree that the Cham HaShemesh is at the 4th hour. My mashma. Why are you saying that? Where did you get that from? Amar Rabbi Achaba Yaakov. What I told you before. Amar Kra V'cham HaShemesh V'namas Ezuhi Sha'a She'Hashemesh Cham. That's only the Shemesh is Cham. Ve'atzel Torem and the only Be'arashot. Okay. Tfilat Mincha the Erev. And Rabbi Yehuda said till Plaga Mincha. Okay? Amar le Rav Chizda Rabbi Yitzchak. Hatam Amar Rav Kahana Halacha Rabbi Yehuda. Hoylut Nam B'Vchirta Kavatei. We know that in the first machloket in Mishnah we are posek like Rabbi Yehuda, since in idiot we are posek like Rabbi Yehuda. But Hacha here, Mai. What's the halacha? Meaning, do we also go like Rabbi Yehuda here? So he said, Ishtik. The law Amar Lev Lo Midi. He was very quiet. He didn't say anything. Rabbi Yitzchak didn't answer Rav. Which means he didn't know if we go like Rabbi Yehuda ad Plaga Mincha, or you could say Mincha until Shkia. Amar Rav Chizda Nech Ziyanan. Midirav Matzi Shel Shabbat Be'erev Shabbat Mibod Yom. Since Rav, the great Rav, the greatest Amor, he prayed the Shabbat Tfilah of Arvit. Every week, Rav would pray Be'erev Shabbat Mibod Yom. During the day hour, when after Plaga Mincha. He accepted upon himself Shabbat from the day hours after Plaga Mincha. Shema Mina, Halachat Rabbi Yehuda. Why is that a proof? Because since the Mincha time ends at 4:45 on that perfect day, so Rav prayed after Plaga Mincha between 4:45 and 6 o'clock. He was Mikabel Shabbat and he prayed early Shabbat. Now, so that sounds like if the halacha wasn't like Rabbi Yehuda, then you have the mincha hours are not over. So Plaga Mincha doesn't have any significance. So how could you be Mikabel Shabbat and pray Arvit at a time of Mincha? Must be the time of Mincha is over. So Rav said, oh, time of Arvit begins after Plaga Mincha. So he used to pray Arvit after 4:45. So the Gemara says, Adab, just the opposite. Mita Rav Huna and Rabbanan don't have a matzah and urta. From the fact that Rav Huna and the Chachamim, they wouldn't pray Arvit until the night. Shema mina ein halacha Klal Yehuda. Okay? The Rav Huna and the Chachamim in his generation would not follow this practice, and they were careful to accept Shabbat and pray Arvit of Shabbat only at night. Okay? And actually, they meant every night. So you see, they didn't want to pray Arvit after Plag HaMincha. Obviously, they felt that after Plag HaMincha is still the time of Mincha. And Arvit's hours have not yet started. So the Gemara says, so now we have a kind of a quandary here. David Kimar, David Kimar. So now you're able to choose whoever you want, says the Gemara. Amazing halakha here. Okay? Now I think actually Rav Huna and the Chachamim were praying on Erev Shabbat. Okay? And they were praying on Erev Shabbat, and they were not praying at the time that Rav Huna's rabbi, which is Rav, prayed. And they could have been accepted Shabbat at that time if Rav was correct. So you see that they argued. So now the Gemara is saying like this: you can choose either Rabbi Yehuda or Chachamim. It's an amazing halakha. That means you're able to start Arvit after Plag, or you can say, no, I'm going to pray Mincha even into the Plag like the Chachamim and only pray Arvit after Shkia. Now, can you switch off every day? So the Rishonim say that it's proper to choose either one. Okay, so that your actions shouldn't contradict each other. B'Shat Chak, they say that a person can really, choose days if he needs to. He can't choose, but if he has a situation. However, you cannot contradict yourself on the same day. You can't say, oh, I'm praying Mincha today after Plag because I'm going like the Chachamim. I go till Shkia. But right after, let's say 4:45, you pray Mincha. Even after, Yehuda would say, no, stop. No, I'm going with the Chachamim. I'm able to choose who I want.
On a regular week or before Shabbat?
Regular routine. Right? Any day.
Yeah.
So 4:45. Yeah, so you pray at 5 o'clock after 4:45. It's still before. I'm going like the Chachamim. They say you have till Shkia. Okay, you pray Mincha at 4:45, and then you say, you know what? Let's do Arvit. So I guess Arvit is only at night after Mincha time. Well, Rabbi Yehuda holds that right now we're after Mincha, and the Gemara says I can choose both. Now you can't choose both on one day. That's a contradiction. If you prayed Mincha today after Plag, that means you're going today, like the Chachamim, which this time is not a time of Arvit, but it's rather a time of Mincha. So you can't double dip and say, oh, I'll take that, and now I'm going to go to Yehuda. That's why you'll see many proper Batei Knesiot. If they pray Mincha right before Shkia, which is the common time, 10 minutes before Shkia, which is after Plag, they're going to be careful to wait. Let's say they end Mincha a minute or two before Arvit, before Shkia. They don't go right into V'hurachum Moshe Amalot, whatever you say here. So they wait a minute or two till Shkia. Because otherwise it would be hard to discuss. It would be and there's a lot on this. Many Rishonim, there's a lot to say on this. Because maybe the Sfardim sometimes don't have the issue, but let's continue. We have to learn. We have to learn more about it. Rav ikul lebegniva mitzali Shabbat berev Shabbat. Rabbi Yomi be'abel lachorid Rav. Rav was visiting the house of Gniva. We had him already. And he was praying Arvit of Shabbat on Erev Shabbat. And Rabbi Yirmiyah Be'abba was behind Rav. We see him Rav, the Pascal and Sot Rabbi Yirmiyah. And Rav finished his prayer before Rabbi Yirmiyah. And he didn't pass by Rabbi Yirmiyah to go sit in his place. He stayed standing in his place. Okay? They didn't want to pass him because Rabbi Yirmiyah was praying Shmona Esrei. So the Gemara says Shema Nitla. We can derive from this three things. Number one, Shema Mina. Mitpalel Adam Shel Shabbat Erev Shabbat. That was what we just learned. On Erev Shabbat, a person can pray after Plag Micha. Ushma Mina. And we also derive from here Mitpalel Tamid Achorei Rabo. That a person is allowed to pray behind his rabbi. There's no isur. Ushma Mina Asur Lavor Keneged Hamit You're not allowed to pass in front of those who were praying. That's why Rabbi was careful not to pass in front of Rabbi Yirmiyah. This supports, this story supports. He said the halacha. Eli, is that so? Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi Chalfi. Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi, they were the Gedolei Ador in the times of Rav as well. They would pass in front of people. Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi, they would pass by out of somebody's 4 amot. That's when they would pass. So now we're qualifying this halacha. When you're out of the 4 amot, you may pass. But Rabbi Yirmiyah, the Gemara says, how can Rabbi Yirmiyah, you tell me a Talmid can pray behind his rabbi? Person shouldn't pray lo kineged rabbo, which means equal. That means if the rabbi is here, you don't pray next to him. And not behind him. Okay? There are different reasons why. Because behind, he's kind of haughty. Another reason that Tosfot says is because when you bow down and you're his Talmid, it looks like, since that's your rabbi, it looks like you're almost Chas v'Shalom accepting him as a deity. Right? You bow down to your rabbi. Another third reason is because of the other halacha, the rabbi is not allowed to walk back, like the story of Rav and Rabbi Yirmiyah, so now you're causing it to have to stand and to wait for your Shmona Esrei. Okay? Now this is a rabbi muvhak, a main rabbi. You learn most of your chachma from him, or the Gadol Ador. So the Braita says, "V'tanya Rabbi Eliezer Omer Hamitpalel Achorei Rabo V'anoten Shalom L'Rabo Hamachzir Shalom L'Rabo." If a person prays behind his rabbi, which is not correct, or he answers or he says, instead of saying Shalom Alecha Rabbi, he says Shalom Alecha, like he's a normal friend of his. Or he returns Shalom, like a normal Alechem Shalom, but he doesn't say Shalom Alecha Rabbi. He acts with him like Al Yeshivato Shel Rabbo, which means that he makes his own Beit Midrash and he rules his own rulings without any permission from his Rabbo. Or someone that says something in the name of his rabbi that he never heard from him, or he says something without mentioning his rabbi, and everybody thinks that it comes from his rabbi. That is the p'giya in the kavod of his rabbi. All these things are going to the Shekhinah shetistalek Yisrael, causes the Shekhinah to be removed. Wow, from Yisrael. So the Gemara is asking, how could Rabbi Yirmiyah Be'abba pray behind Rav? So the Gemara answers, Shani Rabbi Yirmiyah Be'abba b'Talmid Chaver. He did learn from Rav. He was a Talmid of Rav, and that's why he's considered his Talmid. But he was also a Talmid Chaver. He was equal to Rav in wisdom, and he was considered his friend as well. And therefore, he didn't have to treat him with the respect that a normal Talmid has to treat his rabbi. So,
but he was his teacher. That was his rabbi. Even though he was...
He did learn plenty from Rav, but he was kind of a colleague and not... So he was a disciple colleague. That's what they want to say. Therefore, he didn't have to accord him that much honor. So the Hainu the Kamal the Rav. That is exactly the reason why Rabbi Yirmiyah told Rav on that day, Mi badalt? Did you remove yourself from doing malacha? I see that you just prayed Tfilah Arvit. Okay? Rabbi Yirmiyah was not praying Tfilah Arvit. He was praying Mincha. At 4:45, at the same time, the Rav was accepting Shabbat and praying Arvit of Shabbat. So he asked Rav, have you separated yourself from doing Melacha? Yes, I have. The law Amar, and he didn't say mi badil mar. When he addressed him, he didn't address him with master. He just said, have you separated yourself? So you see that he spoke to him in that way, and that's when he was able to pray behind him. Because it wasn't his main rabbi. Well, mi badil, did Rav really separate himself from Malacham? Ha'amar Rabbi Adam Pam Achad. התפלל רבי של שבת בערב שבת, ונכנס למרחץ, ויצא ושנה לו בפרקים, ועדיין לא חשכה. We once saw Rabbi, he did the same thing that Rav did. He prayed Arvit of Shabbat on Erev Shabbat, after Plag, and then he went into the bathhouse. He came out, he taught us. And even at the end of the shiur, it still wasn't dark. Now, on Shabbat, you're not allowed to enter a bathhouse, right? So, it's a gzeira not to enter a bathhouse because you might heat up the waters. Okay? So, how did Rabbi walk into the bathhouse? It's Isur de Rabbanan. Amar Rava, Havud nechnas le'aziyah, v'kodem gzeira hava. He went in just to sweat from the heat, which is a very healthy thing, like a sauna. But it was before the Gzeirah that the Chachamim said you're not allowed to enter a hot bathhouse to sweat, and therefore he wasn't doing any sur. Is that so? Abaye shara lei l'Ravdimi b'Aliva'ei v'Chabruye salei. Abaye allowed Ravdimi, the son of Liva'ei, to smoke up some baskets with the smoke of gafrit, which was a way of smoking things to soften them. And it was after he prayed Arvit of Shabbat on Erev Shabbat after Plag HaMincha. Even though this is a complete melacha, because this action of smoking things would either dye them or soften them, and that's melacha on Shabbat. So how did he allow this? That story was done in error. Which means the reason why Ravdini in that story was Mekabel Shabbat was a mistake. Well, it was an error, meaning to say, he thought that it was already nighttime because it was a very cloudy day. But then the sun came out, and then he realized that the whole acceptance of Shabbat was a mistake in the first place. And therefore, Abaye allowed him to do melacha. Because if you accept Shabbat mistakenly, it's not a Kabbalah, it's still weak to you. That's why Abaye sent him on a job, on an errand that included melacha. Says the Gemara, is that true? If you make a mistake, are you able to just retract now and say, oh, that I guess I didn't realize, so it's not a Kabbalah? One time, the day became very cloudy, and everybody thought it was dark. It was on a Shabbat. Everybody said, okay, Arvit, it's dark. And they scattered out. The sun shone. They came to ask Rabbi, we prayed Arvit too early. The Amar, since you prayed already, you prayed. And you're Yotzeh. Now, that means that they prayed by mistake. It wasn't the right time. And still, it works. So the Gemara is trying to compare that. If you prayed Arvit of Shabbat by mistake, you already fulfilled the Arvit of Shabbat. So therefore, if you fulfilled it and it's done, so therefore the Kabbalah of Shabbat should also be done, even if it was done by mistake. So why did Abaye allow Rav Dimi to go and smoke these baskets, which is a malacha, after he did it just because it was a mistake? So the Gemara says, Shani tzibur de lo matachinelo. The truth is that really if a yachid is mekabel Shabbat in error, it's not a Kabbalah. And if he prays in error, it's not a tefillah. But the tzibur, we don't bother in Torah tzibur to pray a second time. Okay? That only helps for tefillah, by the way. But in regards to melacha, obviously, if they're all mekabel, if that's how they pray tefillah Arvit of Shabbat on Shabbat, that's not a Kabbalat Shabbat. And they're allowed to do melacha. It's only if they prayed when they thought they're allowed to pray and they weren't, that we consider it a good tefillah. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Avin. Rabbi Chia bar Avin said, Rav tzadi shel Shabbat erev Shabbat. Like we mentioned before. Rabbi Yoshua tzadi shel Motzei Shabbat b'Shabbat. So the Gemara says, Rav tzadi shel Shabbat be'erev Shabbat. Omer kedusha ala kos, or en omer kedusha ala kos. He comes home, it was 4:45. He started praying Avit. It was after Plag Micha. He comes out of the Beit HaKnesset and he says, Rabotai, Shabbat Shalom. He comes into his house at 5:30, the sun is shining. Rabotai, Shkiyah is only at 6 o'clock. Now, could he say Kiddush or should not say Kiddush? Do we allow him, now that it's Shabbat for him, do we allow him to say Kiddush before nighttime, or Kiddush needs night? Because Kiddush is a chiyuv min HaTorah, Rabotai. So therefore maybe Kiddush is more chamur. And for Tfilah, we allow you to do, okay, after Plag Micha, it's good for Avit. But for Kiddush, you have to wait for nighttime. So the Gemara brings a proof. Tashma, the Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Shmuel. Mitpalel Adam, shel Shabbat erev Shabbat v'omer kedusha ala kos. V'hilcheta kamte. He says he could. The halacha follows. Rabbi Yoshua Matzah shel Motzei Shabbat b'Shabbat. Rabbi Yoshua prayed after Plag Micha, Avit of Shabbat. Omer Avdalah ala kos or ein Omer Avdalah ala kos? Same question about Havdalah. Tashma Dam Rabbi Yehuda Mashul, Avdalah Dam shel Motzei b'Shabbat b'Shabbat ve'omer Havdalah ala kos. He could say Havdalah on the kos. Okay? Now, the Rishonim say that that's only if you have an onus. Means you have to run. The second Motzei Shabbat comes. You're not allowed to do Melachah until it turns dark. But Havdalah, you could do it. Because just like I was able to pray the Avit, so the Rishonim say, don't do this Havdalah on the kos. Unless you really have an emergency, you have to leave right by Motzei Shabbat. But don't, obviously you can't do any Melachah, you can't do the fire of Havdalah. Okay? Or any other Melachot. But the Achronim write that today's day, we shouldn't do that at all. Because it looks so weird and strange. It's going to be it's not good looking. Therefore, we're also worried that today we're not so strong in all the halachot, and therefore if you make Havdalah halachos, you're going to end up doing Melachah as well. You say, well, I made Havdalah already. So since we're not strong enough, don't do that today. Amar Rabbi Zera, Amar Rabbi Yassi, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Amar Rabbi Chanina, Amar Rav. At the side of this pillar, Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Yossi would pray the Shabbat Avit on Erev Shabbat. They bring another way that they wrote this brayta. Ki'ata ula Amar b'tzad tmara hava lo b'tzad amud hava. It was at the side of a palm tree, not the side of a pillar. And it wasn't Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Yossi that prayed. And Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yossi hava. And it wasn't on Erev Shabbat, they were praying Shabbat. El Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat. Tfilat Erev Makemi, you have to go, right? Okay. Have a time? Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. Tomorrow
Tomorrow night we're doing it.